first. I think we're going to talk about it. So, what's surprising is that we've got the food pyramids back. It's just upside down. Maybe they took a little inspiration from Stranger Things there. Um, but for those who don't know, the old food pyramid had a whole bunch of grains and stuff at the bottom, making up the base of the pyramid. And then above that, you had fruits and vegetables. And then above that was your protein foods like dairy, cheese, and some animal sources there. Lots of animal sources. And you can kind of see in there a little bit of beans and uh, other plant-based sources in there, but that's about it. And now we have the new food pyramid, which is upside down, and the and not the base anymore. The top of the pyramid, which is the biggest part, is comprised of a lot of protein, dairy, and healthy fats, and a lot of those things are encouraged that there's animal sources of protein. Plant-based sources of protein don't get a lot of real estate in this new pyramid. And then also at the top on the right hand side, you have some vegetables and fruits, and all that trickles down. And at the very bottom of the new food pyramid, we have whole grains. It is the least emphasized part of the new food pyramid. So lots of things to talk about here, but that's kind of the broad summary of what's happened here. What's old is new again.
Yeah, maybe it's good to mention if not everybody is aware, but the pyramid itself, I feel like that's probably what's been people have been most aware of, but we actually haven't had the pyramid, or I guess America hasn't had the pyramid for quite some time. The model before this new one has been the my plate method. So actually looking at like what foods look like on your plate and how to structure that. So I think that's a decent criticism of this new revolutionary in quotation marks idea that we have that we're flipping the pyramid upside down. We didn't even really have the pyramid before, so uh, good to kind of touch on that. That some of the messaging around this is just, I think, trying to be a tad inflammatory.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the pyramid, well, we'll get to some of the criticism pieces, but it's related to the pyramid because it's upside down pyramid, but I don't see necessarily any hierarchical amount of real estate taken up in the pyramid that relates to the amount of food you could be consumed with a couple exceptions. But whereas the previous pyramid, what was on the bottom took up the largest part, the upside down pyramid, we're not necessarily looking at it from like the what's on the top taking up the largest part either, but it's hard to separate that in your mind when you think of, oh, it was a pyramid before, now it's upside down, and so some of that logic doesn't transfer over 100%. It's, yeah, it looks like an upside down pyramid, but we didn't take what was previously there and just flip it wholly, which is confusing because some people will probably think that that's what happened if they're not digging into it enough.
And the reason that a lot of models have moved from things like pyramids or triangles to circles is because it more resembles a plate that people often eat out of. And it just makes for a more intuitive, a more understandable public health tool, which that should be the goal, to make it easy to understand, easy to use, not to make a seemingly just inflammatory or, yeah, inflammatory type of point about previous guidelines or previous recommendations.
I don't really know a ton of people that eat off of anything triangular.
Could be a new thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
If you just use a pizza slice as your plate, then all is well.
Very
There's the real
true.
facts. Yep.